All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Talking That Talk official podcast where we are comfortable and uncomfortable conversations. I'm your host, Juice, aka No Ordinary Brother.
What's good, everybody? I go by the name of King Exodus. Thank you for tapping in. Make sure you follow the YouTube as well. Talking and Talk official podcast. All right. Before we get into the main event tonight, big thing just transpired.
Hmm?
Shannon Sharp is gone, people.
You
No
gone?
more Lakers in five. No more Lakers in five. Um, we don't know what amount the case got settled on. It was 50 million that was up for grabs.
Hmm.
Street say 20. We don't know, but whatever amount it was, the young lady that you know made the accusations, she retired from OnlyFans. So I'm pretty sure money was price was right. But needless to say, some people had their inputs about it. Not to say I personally want to see that guy lose anything, but let's be real. This is America, okay? It's a lot of things you can do here, but engaging in those type of activities with a white woman, young at that, eh, ain't going to end too well. You know what I mean? But anyway, like I say, one thing I open with Juice. What's up?
All right, man. You know what they say. Lose to win. Only God can judge your sins. ESPN and 5. But, so one of the craziest things right now, like I said, to me, what happened with Shannon Sharp, seen it from a mile away. One of the things that people were, one of the attorneys that I watch all the time, he was arguing the fact that, listen, he was trying to quickly settle, quickly as possible to be able to keep up sponsorships and cost and possibly more endorsement. It ended on a consensual basis. Of course, it was a lot of things that was rolled into that situation. But he said the reasons to settle and get things on a consensual basis is for the chance of you to lose out for now, but also be gain to also gain in the future. So even though Shannon has lost ESPN, there's no telling to see what he'll be able to get within the future. Like I said, everything ended on a consensual matter at the same time. As I reviewed that case, man, I was like, yo, that chick set that man up for to like day one. But it's up to people to pay attention to what you're getting yourself involved into. Conversations, like you said, one of the things uh, I was listening to somebody not too long ago. He always said, like, listen, the higher you go up, like the type of conversations you feel like you should really be able to have with people, you should be more mindful because you never know what's going to be used against you. Not too long ago, some people were saying, like, hey, listen, this is the era where people are just going to start taking men to court for any type of accusations, especially involving any type of sexual misconduct or anything related sexual, just to hurry up and cast a check and bounce. So, over the last couple of years, I have been observing that for like the last 2 years. Like I said, it's more stuff coming out, more stuff is rolling into play. Like I said, the lady was actually paid for her services. I just want to make sure I put that out there. She was paid for her services, but and then man, you got to make more starting decisions. One of the things people now say is like, listen, Shannon's 57, he's messing with somebody else 21, 22. Do you feel like that's going to cause any type of do you feel like that's going to cause any changes for older men to date younger women? To me, I said no, but I guarantee now, I think some black people start to wake up like if they should cross that line or not when it comes to interacting with white women. You know, as Dr. Umar says, you got to watch out for being snow bunny. Uh, you know what? That should be the next topic right there, Dr. Umar Johnson. But I think we'll get back on that another time. Uh, yeah, that's my take right there.
Alrighty. I won't go too hard on the political thing tonight. I'll leave that alone. All right, we can go to the main topic.
Okay. All right, y'all. So, will ninjas ever grow up? Like when I said that right now, I want y'all to think of if you ever watched a Dave Chappelle episode where he was like, niggas? I always have like that thought in my mind when I go through a lot of situations, right? I want you to think of Boondocks when the episode with Stinkman and nigga moments, nigga tendencies, all that stuff. It happens too much to a point. I have to ask myself, will people ever grow out of this stage? On an episode we did a couple weeks back. I had talked about a situation where I was trying to buy a vehicle. During that situation when I was trying to buy a vehicle, the guy had basically told me two different stories, two different prices, two different everything. Right? Starting price was 10 grand. I said, hey, listen, bro, would you take eight? It was I. Yeah, I know. That's how we take 7,500. He said, "Nah, I can do eight though." I said, "Cool. Hey, listen, send me the information. I can call my insurance company. I can call my extended warranty, and we can get everything moving. I can meet up with you Friday. If everything works out, I'll put on a diagnostic test. Everything passed. We'll meet at the bank and get your money. We'll go our separate ways." So then all of a sudden, like the conversation all of a sudden slowed down. In the slow down process, I said, "Hey, do you need to get my personal contact number?" It went from, "Nah, I need 10 on this." I was like, 10? I was like, you just agreed upon eight. He's like, yeah, but did you read my posting? I said, the posting says 10, but I just asked, would you negotiate? So then it went from, nah, man, I put too much money into this. They got candy paint in it, blah, 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 blah. And I always tell people, bro, nobody cares about everything you have done to a car. More people are just actually worried about the car itself. Does it function, the engine, the components like that. So needless to say, I just stopped talking to the guy. Literally, like 24 hours later, I get an update on my messenger. They said, "Hey, listing price dropped." All of a sudden, it dropped to 8 grand. So, in the means of when it started dropping to 8 grand, I updated. I said, "Hey, I see your listing has dropped. Uh, would you like to proceed forward?" He's like, "Yeah, we can proceed forward. But if you really like the vehicle, you got to come see it in person." And I've always said, I notice when things are like about to go left, people always tell you to come see something in person instead of just being upfront and letting you know everything that you're getting involved with. Right? It went from, hey, it's a clear blue title, candy paint and everything into it. I said, hey, what's the Carfax over the vehicle? He says, it's a 2007. It doesn't come with Carfax. He said, I'm trying to sell the car because my homeboy just got out of prison and I'm just trying to make sure he gets some money. Like I said, two different stories that just came into the picture. I was like, what's up with all the finessing that everybody else tries to do? And what really made me mad was the fact that he thought his information was so accurate that you don't have Carfax over vehicles when all you need is a VIN number. It pissed me off to a point I almost was about to react like a nigga, but I told myself, hey, you do know a VIN number is your Carfax data where they store your information to get called the status reports on it, right? He said, and then I just told myself, nah, this is too much of a hassle. I don't want to deal with it. And right then and there, I really got pissed off because I realized sometimes niggas just talk too much and don't know what they're talking about. Everything got to be a con. It got to be a finesse. It got to be this. It got to be that. Why we just can't just do things straightforward? And it just made me ask myself, do niggas actually grow up? Do niggas actually understand they don't know what they're talking about at times? Do niggas understand they need to pick up and read a book? Sometimes you need to mature with age. Sometimes you really got to grow with the times. So that's how we got on the topic. And this is gonna be a good one. Ain't gonna be too long. So let's keep it going.
Um, my thing would be Dr. Umar, nigga shit. Um, not by skin color, but just by behavior. So before this whole viral video comes out of him, saying he need money because he broke his accounts, somebody doing fraud, so everything's frozen. Okay, cool. Maybe that happened. Not gonna say it didn't. But on the flip side, it's like, okay, cool. Like when you was taking money for a school, I mean, did you ever, decide to open a trust? Uh, at what scale did you appropriate the funds properly to where something like this couldn't have happened?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, people when they actually it kind of got like the little kind of grift vibe to it, but it's just saying like, yo, like I don't think as a grown man with a following, that I could go in front of that same following and say, y'all, I'm broke, send me some money. I feel like some things you just, even if that really happened to them like that, some things you just like, you figure out, you take in stride, you find a solution, you find another way. But for you to take that same image of masculine male leadership,
Whew.
correcting everybody's flaws, and then coming out with a situation like that, I just, whether it's sincere or not, I just felt like coming out with it was not the play. Now, this is after the daughter situation. This is, you know what I mean? So when you do position yourself in any type of leadership role, um, just make sure you live certain areas of your life to where it's uh, secluded, where only certain people have privilege to see what's really going on. Because this destroys the whole narrative of what you're trying to represent if your image isn't intact in a certain way.
Mm,
Even if you're faking it till you make it, whatever, just make sure the image is intact.
mm,
You know what I mean? So when we had these type of discussions about nigga shit, it's just like, fam, like everybody wants to be in these positions and roles, but like we never knew when Malcolm was living, how many people wanted to get at him. We never knew what his finances was like until later on when we seen the movies and we read the books and we was like, oh damn, he was going through some shit. Elijah cut him off, and we didn't know that when it was going on. Why? Because that wasn't
mm.
information for the following and for the public to know.
Mm,
You're here to do a job. You're here to represent something. You're here to motivate people. You're not here to spill out your personal shit to that degree.
mm,
So I can go down a list of leaders, but like we did not know what was going on at home financially or whatever. They kept that out. Imagine if you went to church and the preacher was like, "Hey, um, it's different when the preacher's just like, hey, we need to raise some money. All right, let's pass it around one more time. All right, y'all, if y'all could just dig a little deeper. I just need $100 more. That's oh, okay, guys. All right, look, we just need $30 more. If everybody could just, you don't know what that money is for, but he gave you a value and everything, a number. That means it might be a little important, but he not stopping church and say, look, they gonna turn the lights off tomorrow, y'all. If we don't have this money, he's just not coming out and telling you what the crisis is. So as a leader, you have to learn how to operate in positions of chaos and not spill the chaos to the people that you're leading. That doesn't happen. All right. The man can't come home and tell his wife, babe, everything's going on financially wrong. I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. It just don't work like that. So yeah,
mm.
that's just, I felt like that was my intro into the nigga shit. Um
Mm,
I said another place I could take it. Look, accountability goes both ways. A lot of times,
mm,
like in the communities now, we separate the men from the women
mm,
and we say accountability is like kryptonite for the women.
mm,
And okay, that's cool, it's cute. But it's the same way for the men. How many beefs, how many gang wars, how many organizations, like I brought up Malcolm X earlier, how
mm.
many things have we lost with the men, with the fellas and the bros, because two men couldn't sit down and say, hey, I was right, you was wrong. I did this, you did that. Yeah, I did do that shit. One thing out of all the shit Kevin Gates says, he said one thing that stuck with me. Well, he said a lot of shit that stuck with me, but this one thing, big brother, can I tell you this one thing? I ain't never told nobody this. I ain't never told nobody this, but I'm gonna tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Dude said everybody do whole shit. And it might have went over some people heads, and he was like, I've done whole shit before, but since I, fought somebody or did whatever, I tried to make it too like a authentic thing because I stood on it and whatever. He was like, nah. Somebody pulled him to the side and they was like, it don't matter if you said it in front of that person. It don't matter if you fought that person. It don't matter if you stood on it. Whole shit is whole shit. And I was like, oh, damn. People really don't like let that simmer in their brain a little bit. So I would say, be able to operate in chaos. Don't tell your following everything. You know what I'm saying? Because you're here to motivate, teach, and lead people out of chaos. And then be accountable. Take accountability. If you did something wrong, you said something wrong, you was wrong in any type of situation, don't destroy shit because you just can't stand on your wrong or your error. So you got
Man, let's stay right there, man. I've always said a couple episodes back, man. Actually, it might be a year ago. I said there's two forms of whole shit. There's a whole shit. One is promiscuous activities. Whole shit two is doing foul activities. Is doing foul activities. A lot of whole shit always slides because nobody feels like they want to check people on it. And that's the thing I always say is like once I realize whole shit is becoming part of the picture, I get more aggressive or I get to a point I just don't want to be around people no more. Right? Because only things can stay in play if it never gets checked. And a lot of things have to be checked. Even your homeboys got to be checked. Uh, some people keep feeling like one of the things I start saying is like when it comes to leadership and development, a lot of key people feel like because what they've done in the past still gives them the right to do things in the future, and I feel like that doesn't matter, bro. Like it really don't. Some people try to take the same energy of how people looked at to them in a certain light that is transferable to the next situation, right? Hey, cool. Hey, fam, you know how to do your things in the street, bro, but this is business now, bro. Like everything can be handled in an aggressive manner, in a manner you feel like you have to make these certain choices. That's why I always say servitude leadership is one of the best leaderships is to be able to serve to your people and also connect with them to come up to a greater solution and get things going. And a lot of people haven't learned that yet, right? A lot of things I still see a lot of people is very hardcore, one way driven when it comes to a lot of things. And then they wonder why they keep falling on their ass. It's because just like you people want to say, hey, women don't listen. Hey, some of you niggas don't listen. And y'all wonder why y'all still in the same place that y'all always been. Or when you want to stay in a domain that you reign in but don't understand your domain, it's also collapsing you in because you haven't allowed it to grow out. One thing I want to bring up is a lot of people wants to stay around the environment is one of the reasons why people stay the same way regardless of the situation. I always say, well, listen, if we can always talk about the environment being an effect, then we have to also talk about why the environment doesn't affect other people at the same time. Like I always say, listen, I always say two sides to a coin. Somebody living like this on that side, somebody living like this on this side. But guess what? That coin is in the same environment as everybody else. One of the depictions I like to put into play when it comes to that is, listen, how long will you let yourself be swallowed by the environment conversation and not the development conversation? Meaning there's still people getting the development that they need no matter what environment that they're in. I have been in chaos, I have been in peace, and I can tell you right now, navigating yourself through chaos to get to peace builds a whole different type of animal out of you. That and growing through peace makes you value your choices and why you have selected peace in your decision making and not to be in chaos. I don't know if that makes sense for some of y'all, but I want y'all to understand where that comes from. Uh, so, yeah, that's some things I wanted to put in play right there. How do you feel about this? What I just said?
um I would just say it's kind of like when people talk about therapy and then some people say I don't need therapy. And then some people say, hey, that's white people shit. And then, you know what I'm saying?
What?
So it's kind of like, okay, well, cool. Like, if we look at a scale of, if we want to say what black people have been through, modern day and the past,
Mm-mm,
everybody need therapy.
mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So the nigga shit stops when you look at all angles of attack from your opposition or oppressor, not by way of somebody in a race, but just anything that life throws at you that's that's that can deter you, that can destroy you or take you off your pattern. Anything, any type of negativity, including the environments, including the, you know what I'm saying, the fact that some people don't read and self-educate, the fact that some people don't think outside the box, the fact that some people don't venture off and just get out of these situations and environments to experience something different, just to see. You can't really say what the environment does to people if you never stepped outside of the environments or if you've never been in those environments 100%. Some people dip a toe in something or has some type of experience with it or know people from it and then say, okay, I can speak on it. Well, if you didn't live that 100% of the time, you really don't know the harsh reality of it. So the nigga shit stops in those kind of conversations when people just expand their mind. It's just like sports. Like some people are better at certain things than other people. You can't say if you're the best at this sport, then you're going to be able to do all these things that everybody does at the highest level. Um, no one shot like Steph before. No one scored like Jordan. I think Russell got the most rings. I can go down and down. Like, so when you have these kind of conversations based on what you just said, the environment play is personal based on each individual. But it's funny that black people feel that way about their environment or people from poverty, how you could be just so above the environment. Meanwhile, the reason you have a wealth gap is because people that's smarter and wealthier than everybody in the middle class decided this is how we're going to shape reality for people.
Mm.
So you can be in something and see it from being in it, and then you can be outside of it and then look within and then see it differently. But yo, if the environment had no play on people outside of the environment, if controlling the way people think had no play on people, then people wouldn't be wealthy because they control the way people think. That's the reason you have religions. That's the reason you have school curriculums. That's the reason you have all these structures in play to control the masses. So if we put all these people in this little box and we call this box the hood or the ghetto or the projects, people wouldn't have thought for so many years, what's everything we got to put in that box to keep them there? So some things can sound so smart and then some things can sound so ninja-ish because it's like people wouldn't have created that environment over years and years and years for people to just say it has no effect. But to each his own. Shout out to the people that uh, didn't succumb to it. And then when you don't succumb to something, you got to look at what level. Like you
Mm.
said, everything has levels. Chaos has levels.
Mm.
Some people function at level 1, level 2, level 3. But if you're not functioning at level 3, I just said between 1 and 3, 3 being the highest, then you still have room to grow.
Mm.
So the environment did have some type of impact if you're not at level 3. So it's just simple. Like I said, inside out, outside in. So most definitely, I would encourage people to get. I don't care what nobody tells you about how they can thrive in that environment. Get the fuck out. I don't do that shit. Oh, I can no. Get the fuck out. Breathe some different air. Live somewhere else. Move out.
Hey, my talking,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? If you grew up in a family and you grew up in an environment and everybody, the Monte Carlo was the car, or the Impala was, get a fucking different car. Get something else. If you grew up in Frenchies, we had the original Frenchies. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we're
Like
the original prisoners,
for
baby.
people that was from South Park, we had the original Timmy Chan. Like that's cool. You know what I'm saying? That shit sticks with us, and we remember what that shit tastes like, and we tell stories like, man, this back in the day, this shit was this and that. But as you get older, find a new favorite spot
Mm.
that's in a different area. Try different foods.
Mm.
Change your diet. Like I'm always gonna be the person to. I don't care how strong minded you think you. I don't do the strong minded talk with people. I feel
Mm.
like that's an exclusive talk for exclusive people. That's
Mm.
if everybody was strong minded, the wealth wouldn't belong to like 5% of people in the world. If everybody was so strong minded, uh, the wealth gaps will be completely different. So I don't talk like that. I tell you to change, leave those environments, change all those habits, throw all that shit in the trash, and reconstruct, rebuild. That's my talk for all the ninjas. Whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Growth is an innovation. Change the shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always the person that studies. Why was I taught this? Why did I experience this? Good or bad? Get down to the meat and potatoes of it, and then you can actually see what's for you and what's not for you. But until you go on them journeys of self discovery, you won't know. So yeah, me definitely, I say change the environment for sure, for sure. And there's so much shit that happens in the environment, it becomes normal. It becomes normal to where
Thank
I
you.
posted
I
something
appreciate you
earlier.
saying that. I appreciate you
I
saying that.
posted something earlier with where it was saying birth control was like labeled like uh it was a grade A carcinogen or some shit like that, but it was saying the health effects behind birth control. We live in everybody in social media and everybody in modern time in America. We live in the whole era of being single as the shit. Families is trash. You know what I'm saying? Have a bunch of sex, get the bag. Like all the other shit don't matter. Women just take birth control. Well, we've been saying for years all these different things have health effects, side effects. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, and the list just goes on and on and on. So you're gonna see a lot of poverty at different levels, leading all the way up to the middle class. You're gonna see people promote hypersexuality, but then you're gonna see everything else spike. Like I said, the birth controls, the abortion rates, the child support cases. You're gonna see all these things raised because people are pushing the narrative of the single life is the shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was even talking about this is a little segue, but it still ties in. I was talking to Juice about home prices and how the prices of homes have risen like crazy just from '04, '05 to now. They say the prices went up 130%. But they lied on these numbers. 'Cause I like to look at shit. They said the average household median was 79,900 to be exact. That's closer to 80,000. So I was like, people ain't making that. So then I was thinking, I said, yo, the boomers are the wealthiest group to ever exist, the wealthiest generation. They own uh, over 50% of the wealth in America. So I did a little deep dive and I'm like, so what was the average median household income then? They said 3,000, 6,000. I'm like, nah, that's cap. I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? So I went back and I researched 1969. I think they said the average male income was 42,000. So I'm like, okay, average male 42,000. Women was already working. That's at least 20. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, but the average median was 6. So that's the excuse they use to keep homes affordable. But that was also the way that the baby boomers built wealth because they bought real estate at low prices and then it appreciated value over time. But now I looked up, yo, the average male makes what, 55,000?
Yeah.
And 69 it was 42. I'm like, man, that's not a big increase from 69 to now.
No,
But the
not at
average
all.
median household now, y'all using 80,000 as an excuse to raise up home prices 130%. But then when we talk about ninjas, black women purchase more homes. I'm like, you didn't base it off of two. You didn't base it off two people having income, and you damn sure didn't base it off two people making 80,000. So sometimes you just gotta study everything and see how it works. But like I say, that's all promoted in the shift of the narratives. The narratives are everybody stay single, fuck family, and then from there we're gonna market and promote everything to single people from everything. You know, you watch TV now, they promote, and it's no disrespect to nobody, but they promote all type of hypersexuality, even like LGBTQ, to where it's like, why are you promoting it? But then they also give you the commercial where it's like, yeah, take this medicine and you can get rid of this sexual transmitted disease in no time. So it's like, whoa, hold on,
You'll
like,
have low
oh
risk.
man.
You'll have low risk.
All right, I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
done.
all
I'm done.
right, low
I'm done
risk.
before I get canceled. I'm done.
What they say, low risk, chances are be undetected. They slide that right in on your.
Yeah, you're like, bro, I'm just
Like,
watching cartoons. Like, how do we get here? Like,
yeah, I was just watching Dexter, man. But nah, man, appreciate you doing them talking points, man. I always tell people like, listen, you can't let the environment dictate everything that's going on in your life. Uh, they always say like, listen, you can't change your friends, then you need to change your friend. You can't change, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, you can't change your girl, then you need to change your girl. It's the same way. It's just like you have to move around to the things that's going to get you to the next level, or at least be beneficial in your life. Too many people want to stay in the same positions and stay with the same people because they have a I'm gonna say it, bro. A lot of people have blind loyalty. They think being loyal for things, no matter what happens, you got to stay loyal. I was like, yo, that's one of the most I ain't gonna lie. I feel like that's one of the most deceptive things that we was taught as a youth. And like no matter what, stay loyal. Like, fam, just did this, and I'm supposed to stay loyal. Like, yo, who like sometimes we gotta reprocess the things we were once taught. That's really big. We have to reprocess the things we were once taught. One of the things X used to always tell me when it came to a lot of things about myself. You'd be like, "Yo, who taught you that?" Okay, then ask yourself, then who taught them that? And then I'm like, bro, you want me to go down a rabbit hole? Okay, cool, we can do that. But for me, I say when it comes to information, you should start learning what really processes with you and works versus you trying to make something work and it doesn't process with you. And as much as people, you always say like reversals of everything, it makes a lot of sense. People are trying to force things that's not that doesn't make them feel good on the inside, but want to dictate something on the outer exterior. What is that image? Image is one of the best ones. It's like, hey, you're projecting something that's really not necessarily you 24/7 or you, period. But you feel that's going to give you the best results that you need until things come crashing down. One of the things like we even do on this podcast at the same time, we like to keep it as authentic as possible. Like I said, we don't mention everything, but majority of the time, hey, there's no faking. There's no none of that. It's rather like you gotta know our trials and tribulations, knowing that hey, listen, we've seen the progression, we see the things that they went through. They talk about it, they express it. Yeah, I did talk about so much stuff on this. Like, I just feel like, listen, what I share can help somebody get to the next level myself. Because guess what? I'm aspiring to get to the next level. So that's why I say I'm gonna always choose peace over chaos. Like I don't function well in chaos. And one of the main things I would tell people is like a form of chaos, whether you believe it or not, or a form of distraction, is also the ability, like, smallest things can be like sleeping with the TV on. You have to hear noise. Like, once noise has been programmed to you at an early age, some type of noise or some type of thing has to be proactively running through your mind in order for you to feel like, hey, I can sleep, hey, I can do this. Because peace, settlement, and quietness has never really became part of you. This is why sometimes people start shit out of nowhere. Be like, yo, where the fuck that come from? Or like, people like, yo, it was quiet. I think I'm gonna start some shit. Like, as crazy as this sound, they have done tests and studies over some of the most simplest things that you would think would bring out the best of people can make somebody feel on edge, right? For instance, somebody who's actively always been active, trying to tell them to be sit down, be quiet, or sit still, or learn how to do, it's going to be rather difficult for them until they learn how to adjust. And sometimes they never adjust, so now they have to create something in order for them to be able to be proactive within that environment situation or to get a better outcome. So another thing I want to bring to the table that he was talking on so well is, like I said, uh, a lot of traditional things is being attacked. One of the things I know is now they are having different titles for wives now. Absolutely, yes. Uh, a traditional wife is called triad wife now. I was just like, yeah, there's a lot of triad wives. I was like, what is that? Then it was like that's a breakdown for your traditional wives. Now wives can be many different things. They don't have to be traditional no more. I was like, yo, so we gotta create words now. Like, the more I like to say, the more word salad that's getting tossed up these days and new definitions coming out, I think that's gonna get a lot of things. I want to say it's gonna get a lot of things confused for the older generation, but for the newer generation, they're gonna adapt a lot quicker. Uh, One of the things like uh, what's the one I was gonna use right now? You got damn, there's a word that just came to my mind that it just left. For instance, I know like when it used to like we used to talk about like LGBT community. some women would be like, I'm bi. And I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Now, I know a woman had told me not too long ago, she's like, yeah, I'm bisexual, but I'm not bi romantic. I was just like,
Say,
it's like, yo, what's going on these days? Like, like I said, like the more things coming out and coming to play, I'm just like, yo, what's what? I think, listen, I'm 34 now. I said by 50, I'm gonna be trapped in my time. Because I know a part of me is not gonna be able to adjust to all these new terms that's coming out. Because I'm gonna still think at one point in time until I want to allow myself to open up. And then some of the times, I'm gonna be honest. This is another thing. You gotta stop being so open to what's being created. Sometimes you need to shut shit down before it starts gaining the exposure to now it creates problems or creates confusion. So more people need to be 10 toes down on things that they believe or things they're willing to reject and be able to be comfortable with being outcasted because of it. So without certain standpoints and certain resistance, I always remember even without resistance, things could never move forward.
all right. Something came to me when you was talking, man. It was interesting. You said earlier how you noticed that, a lot of people been getting, a lot of men been getting, set up in court, cleaned out, through the allegation world. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I'm like, if you look at the pattern before the allegation world, uh, men said, yo, like, I'm not gonna do marriage because she gonna take half of everything, you
Mm-hmm.
know, women. So the smart thing was for a guy to be single. And that was his intelligent way of keeping his assets. And then it became like, well, you still had, like, in the marriage world, like I said, you had divorce. In the single world, you probably, had child support. These were like things that, that came with it. Now you have the allegation world. So, and then you have people like John Cena recently. He moved a young lady in, or I don't know how old she is. He moved a lady in, and she had to sign contracts to move in. And it was detailed on his terms, you know what I'm saying, page by page. How many pages was it? Was it 75,
35, 35, 35 pages.
75 page contract? And it hit me while you was talking because I said, damn, bro, like, it's a white man thinking like this. Meanwhile, the single culture is promoted to everybody, but it was promoted to us first and the strongest. It's promoted to us and the strongest. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, damn, why don't we move like that when we get the bag to where it's like we open up with Shannon Sharp? Like you said, you feel like he was set up from day one. I personally don't, but I'm just like, whether he was set up or not, it's offense and defense, man. You was smart enough to not get married because you said, hey, a woman ain't gonna take all my shit. You was smart enough to stay single because you say, hey, I'm gonna protect my peace and I'm gonna focus on the bag. I ain't gonna let nobody steal my focus. But okay, I want you to caption this. If he paid that girl $20 million in his NFL career in total, he only made like 22, $23 million in total. Think about that.
That was your whole
The
career.
$100 million contract that he was getting from ESPN and all the money he made in the last 10 years would have been the most money he made in his whole career. And that's playing so much defense. Oh yeah, I ain't trusting that. They ain't gonna get me like that. And then they always get you. And it's the same tool, it just come in different ways. And it's not men versus women, but I'm just saying, like, I like the Shy, my favorite character, Duda. Duda played defense for a long time. How did he get got? A woman. Like, it's a repetitive thing.
I just had to laugh. Look at laugh.
So the ninja shit really stops when it's like, for anybody, when you just realize, yo, that can be an asset for you or it can be a destruction for you.
Hmm.
If you want to say it's not the woman, or for the woman it's not the man, it could be your sexual appetite, it could be your lust, it could be whatever.
Appetite. Well,
But if you don't get those things in check, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is like, check the people around you. Relationship, situationship, it's still a ship. Check that shit. Friendships, check all that. And really see what people stand with you. Because earlier I was thinking, and I'm like, look, if you look at every iconic person, great person, regular person, most of them people, if they got killed, it wasn't by strangers. It was by people that knew them.
Mhm.
Or it was a byproduct of a beef with somebody that they knew that was close to them. So everybody has to start thinking offensively and defensively. Check the people around you. A lot of times you can never grow or accelerate to your highest level. Even if you are successful, you still don't get to the highest level because of the, going back to the opening thing, the environment. It's not always a physical location. Sometimes it's people. Sometimes it's energy. Sometimes it's food. Sometimes it's activity. Sometimes it's thoughts. Like, imagine two rich people in a big house arguing over uh, Kobe and LeBron. It doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? So these two people relocated, changed everything, made the money, but the tendencies are still there to argue and fight over low frequency shit.
Oh,
So so eventually you can take what they say, you can take the person out the hood and all that. Can't take the hood out the person.
mhm.
We heard that all our lives. We laugh about it, but it's true.
No,
That's
definitely
why I
true.
always say, don't be so brilliant to where you operate out of chaos, but you forget the most important thing is to eventually remove the chaos.
Yeah.
Like, like that's the whole thing. Like, because if not, you can do great things in that position, but it's capped. It's cut off. You know what I'm saying? So don't be comfortable. Don't settle for anything. Literally, even if it's success, don't settle for just that because you can have more if you just continue to change. I think that's what ninjas don't understand. Every day, you should wake up with the intent to change something else about your life. And if you, I love information, but I could say, yeah, every day I need to learn something new. That sounds good. But if every day I'm learning something new and it's still not changing my life progressively, then maybe I need to change my intent for that day. Maybe it's not so much what I'm learning. Maybe I need to switch what I'm learning. Okay, maybe I just need to just, okay, I'm not going to put that type of energy on learning. Maybe I need to put intent on applying what I know. You don't want to be a library and just store a bunch of information and books and all that shit just sit there. You actually want to use the information, use it. Some people can know 10 times less than you, use one or two things and get 10 times further than you. And you'll be the smart person on their payroll or the smart person that still go to work every day. So you got it.
All right. So, one thing I want to talk about is also creating an environment for the correct energy for you to engage in. I remember one time I was at one of my friends' house. We was having a conversation, and I remember him saying, "Hey, listen, the conversation we're about to have, we should have it in this room." I was like, "The fuck?" Like, why does it matter the type of conversation where we have? We're just having a conversation. He said, "Well, over here, it was all about controlling the environment of the type of conversations you should have in certain rooms." And I was like, "Oh, that played like a whole different part of me in life, right?" Not too long ago, I said, "Listen, no, when I had my one of my two apartments at one point in time, I had my bedroom where I sleep, I had the living room where I watch TV, and I had the business room where I had a podcast where I study and everything. Literally, and I also had how would you say like a little studio, little thing set up. Literally everywhere I sit down, I would only allow myself to have certain conversations there. And I learned like sometimes if you control your energy and the environments, that's one of the biggest things. X said something big. He said, "Listen, you'll see two rich people arguing over sports in the same house. You don't. But at venues, you will." They'll say that like venues and stuff like where sports and activated, they'll have that argument there, but they don't want to have that type of conversation back home. This is why I said like sometimes they separate the energies and the engagement that they're willing to have due to basically like I said, trying to control the environment or create the environment that they feel is healthy for themselves to engage in, right? It's just like somebody said before was like, hey, listen, uh, White Pops always brought his gun to him, always brought his gun with him, right? And there was some people you be saying like, listen, it's better to have it on you than not with you. And some people be like, well, why do you have to why go into an environment that you have to bring a gun? And some people just don't understand like some things are just set into motion just out of protection. Then it is like, hey, well, why do something if you feel like you have to protect yourself in that type of nature. So being adaptive is also understanding like, hey, listen, there's a lot of things you can't control, but at the same time, you can learn how to put certain uh, what preventative measures. I always talk about that preventative measures into play to help better situations, right? And that's going to have to be something that people are going to have to learn to adjust to in life. I always say two things you need to do as a man. You need to have preventative measures in place in certain areas in life, and you need to have proactive solutions no matter what the situation is. That's one of the things I've always discussed, and even in relationships with talking to any woman. Like, hey, listen, what were some of the things that family wise, or the men around you say that are preventative measures and proactive solutions? Like, before sex, preventative measures from STDs and anything like that. That's a condom. Simple. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Then, like you said, proactive solutions, like in case anything happens, like you talk about the pill and all that other stuff that you could take. But yeah, I'm just saying, like there should always be something set up to better your situations, enhance your situations, and also, yeah, really right there.
Yeah, but you know what they say, bro. If you just put the tip in, you safe. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know what?
And if you only go for less than 5 minutes with no condom, you safe, bro. Like you ain't gotta, It's the 6 minute mark when shit get dangerous.
Well, sure, I thought. Hey, do they still get pregnant on pre-com?
Yeah,
Even
we
they
heard it
just
all.
tell
Even
you,
sex
I
talk.
even come.
Mm.
Just a little.
I don't know what she talking about, fam. Like,
It was just a
yeah,
little
but
dribble dabble. You know what
I'm
I'm
like,
saying?
bro, ain't no way I caught nothing, dog. I wasn't even in there that long. You like,
You didn't know that long, man.
it was only one time, right? You sure right, man. There's no way.
All it takes is one time. You heard that before?
Hey, but look, though, that's damn, that's crazy. Sex would be a great, topic on that. But um, I had a family member hit me up recently, and a male, and they was in a little situation, a little bond, and asked me for a dollar amount, and I was like, can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Love you, but I can't do it. And the love was like, yo, I love you enough to give you resources that I've used before while being in that position. I give these resources, and that's my love. But as far as liquid, yo, and the liquid, I ain't got it to do that right now. Got things I'm doing, investments. It's a like a lot of people don't understand when people say they don't have things at that moment. Liquid, money, cash, fiat, fiat.
Okay, so
And it's like until you live that life to where, yo, credit and debt is important to you. Some people be like, yo, I'm working on my credit or I'm paying off debt. And some people, they like, the fuck that mean? Well, for the person that lives in that world where that's important, that's a very key in their growth and how they're going to utilize credit. Some people say, hey, you don't need credit for certain purchases. That's how you live. Somebody else may think every day I just need this score. And I know ways I'm going to utilize this score to impact my life and my future. So I don't have time to play with that. Everybody's not playing with what you play with. Pause. So you can't make everybody see the world the way you see it, especially at you being at a low level. You shouldn't want to bring people down to that level. So anyway, I'm like, yo, I got money invested. And so for people that don't invest, they don't understand. Like, if I want to pull money out of an investment, that takes time. It takes time to sell. You have taxes that's implemented now. You have the longer you hold an investment, the less you pay in taxes on it if you ever take that money out. Now we having a conversation. So when you hear people say a person's net worth is said a number, they don't have that in liquid. That's how much they're worth based on what they have invested in certain things. So all these different situations meant nothing to that person because they didn't live that experience. And there's no shade to the person, but it's just like I wouldn't be giving you the resources that I'm giving you and giving you this energy if it was all fake. It's real. So anyway, conversation continues. And as the family members going on this tangent, I'm starting to, like I say, I'm a rabbit hole kind of person, pause, because I'm constantly thinking, how did this lead to this, and how did this create this, and I always want to get to the point of creation and shit. As I'm listening to dude talk, I'm like, I've sounded like that before.
Mm.
I've played the blame game before. I've had war with me before. I've done this. Damn. And he went on the tangent, and it was just like, so instead of figuring out the resources that I'm giving you, I didn't have to be nothing. You're gonna going back to chaos. You're just gonna fold into chaos and say fuck it. And I was just like, wow, that's powerful. Because I don't have that in me. Mm-mm. Know what I'm saying? Got to figure it out. I was even telling somebody who was close to me recently. I'm like, look, I may vent about something. I may give my expressions on it. But as soon as those words come out or the energy is expressed and released, I'm off of it.
Mm.
Now I'm in processing mode. Now I'm in creation mode. But it took years of me studying myself because at first I was just like the family member I told you about. I just fuck it, chaos, fuck it. I'm sick in this shit. And then I started seeing, well, that leads to nowhere but more chaos. You know what I'm saying? So eventually the thought process becomes what solves problems. I don't have time to double down on bullshit. So with this family member, it was just crazy that the double down game was strong. And I even thought about another family member that's related to that one in particular. And I was like, damn, this is crazy. This is why I always encourage people, spend time with your family. Like, you really learn more about yourself by being around people that share the same DNA.
Mm.
Whether it's things that you learn that you think are valuable or things that you actually don't see the value in. But if you're always in a mode of recreating yourself and building yourself up, you can't tell me you're around people that's related to you and you don't see their negativity as just exclusive to them. Like, you don't go to the hood and only see hood people do negative things and say, "Oh, that's just them. That's exclusive to them." It reminds you, "Oh shit, I got that in me still. Oh, I did that. Oh,
Mm.
it gives you a gauge on where you constantly need to work." So I would say the nigga shit in that is like going back to accountability. Be able to fix your own situations, no matter what they look like. Look for the solutions. That's where the growth is at. It's in uncomfortable solutions. We have uncomfortable and comfortable conversations. Sometimes you really get the most growth out of the uncomfortable spaces. Sometimes you got to go in the dark and you got to hit your hand against the wall and find light eventually. But don't panic. Don't be in a dark space and the only thing you're doing is fumbling to get to a light switch. No. Sometimes you're not sitting in the chaos in that situation. You're adapting to what's in the environment first just to grow out of it. If you run from every situation, you didn't grow from it, you ran from it. So now when you get confronted with that same energy in a different embodiment or a different drug or a different experience or a different purchasing power, now here we go again. The same evils, the same energy you ran from is coming to you in a different way. This is how you can have rich people say they still unhappy. And then poor people saying, man, if I had what he had, I'd be straight. Somewhere the connection is, it's internal problems that you don't fix. So
Mm.
ninjas grow up when ninjas fix what's inside of the ninja.
Mm.
relocation is good, but you can't escape everything by running. So you got it.
Uh, I was just gonna tell you, hey, believe it or not, dysfunction travels with you. It don't go nowhere. Dysfunction travels with you.
Some people say, I'm gonna
One of
leave all the furniture in the whole house because I don't want to bring that negative energy. Okay, cool, but motherfucker, you're the energy.
Yeah,
Like
you're
you,
the energy, dog. Like, dysfunction travels with you. Like sometimes people really believe, like, every time I go to that house, certain things happen, and it's the house. No, bro, it can literally be the same people. I literally watched it happen before, like going to a house, seeing the dysfunction. They bought a new house, and it's the same dysfunction in that new house. I was like, yo, ain't nothing changed. It was never the house. It's the people. It's the people. Bigger house, bigger space. Even got a pool. Same shit. The same shit going on that it was going on at that house. It was just like, man, this just changed the environment. Like, listen, the environment can only do so much, right? One of the things that I like Troy Ave said, he was like, listen, he learned like when he changed the environment, started being around different people, things changed dramatically within his life. He said, listen, he was hanging around people that used to piss in the elevators, right? This is something they used to do in New York. You just piss in the elevators. He said, but when I remember like just moving to the suburbs and stuff and how engaged his neighbors were, they were like, "Good morning." So he said automatically within him, he wanted to make sure he reciprocated the same energy he was getting, he was receiving. So he said, man, that was a big moment for him is to realize everything that happened in his past. He could choose to stay in it and choose to still engage in it, but when you're in a different environment, there's some people have certain rules and regulations in place that force you to grow or you got to go. Like I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like a lot of those places because that controls less chaotic things to happen, right? Just like some people like I don't like HOA fees. Hey, listen, fam, some HOA fees I don't mind. Like, hey, bro, y'all be getting houses, grass ain't cut. Y'all be getting houses, shit just everywhere. Like listen, like imagine if I'm here everything's up to par, and then somebody like, yo, man, I thought you was in the hood when I passed that first house. I'm like, and I'd be like, no, bro, that's just how they do it. Like, nobody gonna tell them like, hey, like, here's the thing. Nobody likes when somebody else is telling them what to do. But if it's already enforced and somebody got to do it, hey, well, hands to you. I ain't got to say nothing. They gonna come get you, bro. I like those type of situations better. Order. See, remember I always talked about when there's structure, there's order. When there's order, there's peace. Without peace, there's chaos. That's literally life. That's literally life. So when there's structure, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I can do this. When you sign up, when you become employed, what do they say in that contract? That's structure. Here's the order. This is how you keep the peace. Now, when you start doing things that's chaotic and there's no peace, or you're getting out of your structure or your contract, we got to go holler at you. But nah, man, I gotta be too long with doing this, man. That was just a little small little thing right there, bro. If you ain't got nothing else, bro, you can sign this off and you keep speaking.
One thing I forgot in the intro. God damn it. Ozzy
Uh,
Osbourne, y'all.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne, man.
Did you actually like
Like,
Ozzy, bro? I
yes,
used to
bro.
watch the TV show.
I listen to Black Sabbath a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes, hey, so black people don't talk about that a lot. Some people didn't even listen to Ozzy like that.
yeah. So I asked a couple of people that's not black, man, how did that impact you and all that? You know,
Hey, you want to talk about Hulk Hogan?
I know, I
Like,
know who to ask and who not to ask. You know what I'm saying? It was just crazy because I was like, yo, this the dude really like. I listened to like a couple of interviews he did, like in the late '80s, and I caught the same vibe like as Tupac talking about thug life or somebody else defending like them being like a outlaw in a genre or something. He had the same vibe, where he was like, I'm being misunderstood. this is my image, but it's more to the music besides that or whatever. So I think, and I'm a late bloomer. First time I heard Ozzy, I think we're talking like probably 2017. I mean, I actually heard it and listened to it word for word. One of the people that was close to me put me on. I was like, I always, like I said, I always everything I consume and I listen to words and thought. Say, damn, bro, spitting. Like literally, you know what I'm saying? And then from there, boom, start listening to a lot of the music. But yeah, that's a crazy moment. Iconic person for sure. And then on the flip, I ain't gonna bring Hulk Hogan up. So, but yeah. Totally different vibe. Totally different vibe. Um, one thing I would say, for the ninjas that's not really ninjas that's trying to grow and you feel held back, we talked about changing your relationships and changing like your environment, changing your habits, things you consume, TV, foods, whatever. Um, one thing you gotta get off of you is the weight of saving everybody. Now, there are people you should feel weighted to save, like your kids, certain people that's close to you. You should feel like, hey, I may not like the situation, but I'm still gonna contribute a certain type of energy because that's my kid or whatever. But outside of that, like it's a lot of people with potential to have more, but every time they give or they try to fix things that's not their own situation. At least in our community, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the young women are too engaged in their family and not engaged enough in their household or their man. Then the men, what they trying to do? They too busy taking care of mama and grandma. And it's like, well, fam, like you got a woman at home, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You have to establish yourself to build wealth, to create a space for a family and all these things. So you just gotta separate your energy. You're not here to save everything that happened before you. A lot of people don't understand it. Like I said, I had a family member hit me up, yo, and I was just like, look, I'm not in that position to do that at this moment. And
Mm-hmm.
then it started making me think, well, even if I was in that position, would that be a good move?
Mm-hmm.
Having the resources to give, but then it's like, who do you give the resources and the energy to? That's critical and key. I feel like if you keep giving prematurely, no matter what it is, not just money, then eventually you end up being the drained person. And in our community, well, when that person makes those choices, the same people you gave to are not the same people that's going to get you out of that situation. They didn't have, let's just say, if you result to something beneath you, you go to crime because you tapped out on your money. You just need to do one little,
One
one
little
little
job.
deal, one little job, one little lick, just one. You know what I'm
Just one.
saying?
Just what? Just one time.
When that's the end of you, those people they didn't have they needed you to give them money, so now they're not gonna bond you out, get you a lot, not none of that. But it's on so many different levels. You so worry about other people's relationships, you sacrifice your own. They couldn't save their own relationship. They gonna come and save yours. So that cape, you know what I'm saying? Like put your cape on, but know when to wear it. You can't just put it on all day. Every time you see the back signal go in the air, that's not your signal, fam. Like, I think some people got to have that conversation, especially in our community. Like, you're not here to save the world. Some people get so dark and they say, "Fuck it, I ain't gonna save nobody. It's me first." I ain't saying that either, but I'm saying you have to know who's in your tribe and who's under your protection, whether that's financially, energetically. Some people just feel saved just by hearing your voice.
Mhm.
I want you to know that. Some people feel saved just by the smallest of things. It's not always about money. So I ended on that note, man. I ended on that note.
Man, the last comment I made is sometimes you actually got a woman trying to save you, fellas. What Frozone say one before? Honey, where's my super suit? That's what I said. Well, most of them said, oh, baby, you probably left it somewhere. Right, because she don't want that man to go outside. She want that man to go outside. Like, hey, listen, sometimes the woman be trying to save you too, bro. And everybody got to pay attention to that. Hey, to you women too. Sometimes the men try to save you, but hey, look, when you look like you can't be saved, yeah, I'll let you go at that point. Yeah, I'll let you go at that point. One thing about me, I know internally about myself when it comes to relationships, I value peace. I, I value peace too much. Like, I don't understand, y'all. Like I said, like, listen, there's a lot of wars you face. An outside war, you face more wars mentally before they ever become physical.
All right, cool, cool. I just say, man, like, for the people, like the whole conversation was good. It shifted between peace and chaos. But one thing I tell people in the rabbit hole thinking, value peace, but still study the uncomfortable things about you that's chaotic, because those are the things that happen when you don't notice they're happening. So a lot of people say, yeah, I want peace. I want to live in peace, but you gave up working on your inner chaos at some point. Or people just pick the chaos that they know that they got to work on, that is comfortable for them to work on. So sometimes it's the shit that you do consciously and unconsciously that triggers chaos in other people. And then now you got another shitstorm of chaos. This is how chaos typically follows people, no matter
Where they
where they
go.
go or who they shift between.
Mhm.
So you just got to keep constantly working on stuff. That's why I like working out, man. Shout out to everybody in the gym. You never get a complete product. The further you get, you like, God damn, my left trap. Oh shit, my right shoulder. Man, that right elbow can be just a look. Like you start looking at shit, people ain't even other people looking at you and they're like, you look amazing. And to you, you like, get the fuck out. That can be healthy or it can be destructive. You always want to keep it in the balance. Be ambitious, but definitely count your wins, you know what I mean? But like I say, always, if you value peace, always focus on your chaos, and that brings more peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
But
sir.
anyway, dude up top, no ordinary brother. Sometimes he jukes, sometimes he
Hey, that boy disrespected me, y'all.
that dude got different names. You feel me? Yeah, great guy. I go by the name King Exodus. Make sure you tap into the YouTube channel, Talking That Talk Official Podcast. Follow the IG for sure. We got clips and content on that. Make sure you subscribe. And we out.